Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze, Breezeway Productions, The Breeze, where we bring you the latest in independent films and film festival news. And we're happy to continue our coverage of the Tribeca Film Festival. It's awesome that we have director Heidi Ewing here with us today to talk about her film Endangered, which also just dropped on HBO Max yesterday. So thank you for coming on the show and tell us a little about Endangered.
Well, thanks for having me. Endangered is a feature-length documentary where we follow four different individuals from four different countries over the course of 1 year. And there's two photojournalists and there's two print reporters. And we sort of wade into the muck with them. They're beat reporters. And we're taking the temperature sort of press freedom at this moment in time.
Very nice. I did tell your team that I thought that this was the most impressive documentary in the festival, and I maybe for all journalists that are seeing that because it focuses on journalists, but I really did enjoy it, and I think it is a film that everyone must see because it talks about the freedom of the press. Tell me, how did the ball get rolling on this project for you to embark on it?
Well, we were talking to Ronan Farrow, who's our co-executive producer for a while. Obviously, he's an author and a journalist who's sort of endured his own harassment while he was covering trying to write a book about Harvey Weinstein and Me Too. And we sort of admired each other's work from afar. And we both live in New York, and we started chatting about maybe doing a project together. He was talking to HBO about doing some work with them. And so we kept returning to this theme. At first, it was going to be, we started talking about the murder of a journalist in Malta and what was going on in Russia.
Right.
And then, as the conversations continued, the conversation became about democracies like Mexico, where it's extremely dangerous to be a journalist, one of the worst places to be a journalist in the world in terms of safety. And we started talking about what Bolsonaro was doing in Brazil, which is basically mimicking Trump when it comes to accusing everything of fake news. And so we said, well, what if we take the temperature in our own neighborhood? Like, how are we doing with the free press in the Americas? And so the film became about, we filmed in the United States, Mexico, and Brazil. And we were very, very surprised at sort of how at risk press freedoms are in our own neighborhood, including at home here in the United States.
Yeah. How did you end up selecting the journalists in particular to each country that you followed and documented?
Well, the Committee to Protect Journalists introduced us to Patricia, who is the reporter in Brazil who's in a head-to-head battle with President Bolsonaro. She was cast, and we started filming in March 2020. And then our casting process became totally crazy because of COVID.
Right.
And so we started speaking to hundreds of journalists all over the world. And who do you know, and who do you recommend, and who's doing interesting work? And it was like a game of telephone casting. And we really wanted to get a group of people that were in contrast to one another, that had different beats. Even though sometimes it looks like in the film they're having the same day, even though they didn't meet each other until Tribeca.
Right.
We wanted people that were covering different aspects of society. And so you've got Sashenka in Mexico. She's like purple hair punk rock photojournalist covering the feminist uprisings really in Mexico, which are amazing. You've got Ollie from the UK who lives in the South, who's covering for The Guardian, Trump's re-election campaign. You've got Carl Just, a veteran of the Miami Herald, photojournalist, 30 years, who's covering Black Lives Matter as his paper is almost going under. And then you've got, I think that's everybody. No, that's everybody. All four of them. I did good.
Yeah. It was very interesting to follow the stories from each category or each location where they were reporting on. Well, let's talk a little bit more of North America, and covering the Trump rallies, which you had a lot of footage on. Was that solely from the person that was working at The Guardian that went there and had the behind the scenes, or did you have a camera team that was working covering it with the?
We were there. No, we were there. We were always there. It's always our camera. Yeah. Sometimes there's a second camera from The Guardian, but no, we were always there. Wherever he went, we went. And he lives in New Orleans, Oliver, and he was covering Trump's reelection bid. So he was going to a lot of rallies, and he was in Tulsa, and we were there too. And we were just trailing and shadowing him sort of from a distance. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty heroic. A lot of these things are very strong to see, because I'm just an entertainment journalist, but these are folks that are getting out there on the front lines of very scary and turbulent events that are happening, like riots and protests and things like that. After the audience are able to check out this film, what do you hope that the main theme will be for people to take away after they've seen it?
Well, here's the thing. Until we made the film, I didn't really have a strong grasp of where we were with press freedoms in the United States. It was like a process of discovery for us as filmmakers. It's one thing to hear about division in a country, and there's another thing to experience in your body and sort of see the sort of derision and the against the press and the suspicion. And it was pretty shocking for us. So for me, I think for Rachel and I, we really feel that when we talk about defending democracy, which everyone's talking about right now, we need to fold in the concept of a free press. Press freedoms are essential. There is no democracy without them. And I didn't think until now, I didn't realize they're sort of on the block as well. There's not many people defending a free press. They're more of a nuisance to most politicians on the right and the left, frankly. So if the people don't care about professionals, asking the right questions and using the journalistic protocols to bring us the news, and they just go to YouTube and Facebook for their news, things are just going to keep getting worse when it comes to the division in the country. So my message is the people have to care about a free and fair press, and start talking about it vociferously when we talk about defending our democracy.
Very well said. And I agree with you 100%. I think that the freedom of the press is under attack, as is shown in your documentary. You screened at Tribeca. You just recently screened at Nantucket. Do you have any other film festivals that are coming up that people can check it? No?
Now it's all HBO Max, and sitting at home, get some friends together, play it loud, and have a conversation about it. That's what I imagine at this point.
Very nice. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show to talk about your film Endangered, which is available now on HBO Max. So definitely check it out. It's under the recently added titles, and also should pop up as soon as you open your HBO Max. So again, thank you, Heidi Ewing, for coming on the show to talk about your film Endangered.
My pleasure. Thank you.